How to get a business loan without business credit. Hi, everybody. Welcome into this live. Michael here from Viral Funding Solutions. Happy that you can make it. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching on the live. Give me a hashtag live. If on replay, hashtag replay. I want to get right into this. We're going to be talking about and getting on share screen for how you can get a business loan without having to use your business credit extremely fast and very effectively, even if you're a complete beginner or you've tried time and time again and you've failed. Now, this is going to be a very important video for you to watch until the very end of it, because I'm going to be releasing where you can go and apply, what to expect with the lowest qualifications in the industry. But let me say this. If you maybe have insufficient business credit, or maybe it is above average, good, excellent, the whole great range, and maybe you don't want to use your business credit for certain reasons that don't permit you to, or you just don't want to expose something. You feel like if you try to use business credit, would it affect you if you try to go and apply for a type of business loan or a cash advance? Maybe if you're trying to purchase certain credit cards and something isn't helping you, because maybe you don't have enough established business credit yet. That's another concern. And before I move forward, if you are trying to get help to build business credit, I'll leave more information for you to get a free video series to pick up down below in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. So that way you can understand the foundations and also what you need to gather in terms of information, what you need to start applying, because applied knowledge is power. So that'll be down there below, as well as free content like my free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. So you know thoroughly step-by-step what you must know to get pre-approved before you walk into an application, with 110% confidence and certainty that you will be approved without wasting time. We're talking about days, months, weeks, and even years of having to sift through information that may be reliable, may have worked some time ago, or might be a type of a scam type of situation. So make sure to get that in for my submission form content. So if you want to submit some details so I can follow up with you, which will be a much faster process, look for that down below. Now, how can you apply for a business loan without having to go through business credit? Well, if you didn't know, you can apply with a personal credit score. Now, that might have opened your eyes, but for many people, they may have this understanding already, but they're unsure of where to go. Maybe you've tried time and time again. You are unsure of a person who's maybe tried to email you, send you a text message, call you, because listen, there's a lot of these hecklers and people who try to quote unquote hustle you. I'm not one of them. And they just try to interrupt you at any part of the day, and they know when they're interrupting you. You get that phone call and you just know for a fact you're not looking at it. You put your phone on silent, because I do that a lot. I'll get calls from various types of industries and people. But you can apply with your personal credit score. In fact, in many cases, depending on the program, and I'm going to show you some of that in a moment, that you go to, they won't ask for business credit. They won't do any type of like comparison or some type of credit worthiness, because a lot of these companies that may say they don't accept business credit, but they look at your personal credit score, they'll do a comparison. A lot of that times can happen with like equipment financing, just being one of the loans of many. But they check that credit worthiness. They like say, okay, in your FICO score, what that does is it checks your payment history. Have you been using less than 30%, up to 30% of your utilization? If you've been using more, what does that look like? Why have you been using more? What's the debt to income ratio? How much are you taking on versus what you can pay back in a certain amount of time? And one tip you want to do is, yes, try to be 30% and below. Less than 30% is ideal. Pay off what you can as soon as you put it on your credit card, soon as possible, because that'll then start increasing your points much faster. And the more consistent you are at that, the more it'll help you. So things like payment history, utilization, debt to income ratio, looking at all these factors of how you're making your payments on time, how fast are you making them, how much are you taking on, why are you using too much, and that a lot factors into how much funding you can get. Business credit, again, and not to get too specific into this, it'll go into my other content, but it looks at a whole completely different thing. So personal stuff you've applied for and have a mortgage, and things like that for credit card uses as well. But let me get on the share screen now just to reveal a few things to help you along your way. Okay. So we're talking about how to get a business loan without business credits fast and effectively. And the way you want to do this, move this over, is again, like I said, you don't have to use business credit. Instead, we can do a FICO credit score. And if you're wondering, where do I get that? You got the TransUnions, you got the Equifaxes, you got the Dun & Bradstreet, you got other ones in there when you're trying to use business credit. What you want to look through is your Experian score. So if you go to Experian.com, there are, other places you can find it as well, but you want to go and search it and see what it brings up. And again, that's not the only place and that's not the only way you can do this, but you want to get that credit score, and you don't have to have it be a good score. It can be a poor score. In fact, I'm going to show you how you can get personal FICO credit score funding with as little as a 450 plus. We're talking about minimum requirements. And there are some business term loans out there. You know this with the SBA if you've seen it. They require a higher 600 plus, 650 plus with certain revenue in place, time in business, and all these other factors that you don't see behind the scenes. But if you're going to go into it and apply with a personal credit score, then you can have a poor score to begin with. And one recommendation that I have for that, and let me open it up in this other screen. Is with a company like David Allen Capital Inc. This is where you can get up to $2 million incredibly fast funding approved within a day or two and funds deposited within a day or two, as much as a week or so, depending on your needs and your file and what you have to look at. But they have minimum requirements in this. These don't have any interest. We calculate on total payback, similar to like a factor rate, but it's less confusing, usually 50% less expensive. And it's one of my number one recommended places to go to, where they all will ask for a personal FICO credit score as low as a 450 plus, specifically with this Bank Breezy service here, where all you have to have is 5,000 plus monthly in bank revenue within each of the last 3 months. A business checking account with online banking, make sure that's set up. 6 months in business, that's all we ask for. A 450 plus FICO credit score, again, that's very minimal. This isn't business credit. This is FICO that does not report to the credit bureaus, and one of those big ones being Dun & Bradstreet. So you don't have to worry about that if you're in a situation where you don't want anything reporting, you don't have business credit built yet, and this is the reason why you're here. It's your business credit has been impacted so severely that you're not at the point yet, but you need the funding. Then your personal FICO credit score can be used instead with a company here like David Allen Capital that can get you up to $2 million incredibly fast funding. I'll leave that information down below in the description to get started. But like I said, again, 5,000 plus monthly in bank revenue within each of the last 3 months. That's all we ask for. A business checking account, have at least 6 plus months in business, a 450 FICO personal credit score, and then all industries are included. So this is just for the Bank Breezy service. And we have the up to 2 million with David Allen Capital, where you just have to be doing 20,000 plus per month and have a 500. And so that's really poor. And these are what you call cash advances. So here, let me actually move this over. So this is what the up to 2 million program. Many of you who have been following me for some time know that I highly recommend them. And this is a cash advance company similar to a loan. You can classify it as that, but we look at it a little bit differently. We look at the amount of deposits. We will generally look at cash flow. With this one, it's a hybrid. It's not a traditional merchant cash advance where we take a future percentage of your credit card receivables. We don't ask for any of that up front. So this is a great direction to go into. Again, those videos and the content on David Allen Capital down below in the description. They'll be there in time, so make sure to view it. But this is how you would get around applying for a business loan without using your business credit. And with programs like David Allen Capital that don't report to the credit bureaus like the Dun & Bradstreet, what we ask for, though, is a personal guarantee. And you can go into this and apply with an EIN if you're doing the 20,000 plus per month. If you're in the lower 5,000, less than 20K, then we generally don't want to welcome sole proprietors at the moment. That may change, but most of the time if you're a sole prop, you don't have a business checking account, business online banking isn't set up with a few other details. So it doesn't really make sense. And it's not as legitimate as having an LLC, a corp, S corp. So if you're doing 20K plus per month consistently within each of the last 3 months, then you can, for the most part, go into it without, you can go into it just with your EIN and that part of the identity. So that's how you get into it. There are other ways too. You can, let me move this over. You can get into this with some type of a startup / personal loan. And the requirements on the FICO credit score are usually higher. So we want to look at like at least a 680 to 700 plus, preferably up. And you have at least 5 trade lines built. There might not be time in business, that's a requirement, but at least 5 trade lines reporting to those credit bureaus. And if you need help again with business credit, that information will be in the description. The other companies you can apply for to get a business loan are with like equipment financing. But again, that's going to also check creditworthiness. So at one point, it can report to the best business credit bureaus. And so you just have to be aware of that we do check creditworthiness in some programs more than others. The ones where you don't see it a lot of the time reporting are the merchant cash advances. And that's a great solution to go to. So again, that information will be down below in the description. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm looking over here in another tab of mine. But to get a business loan / cash advance without having to use your business credit, there are these cash advance companies that are usually the ones that won't report to the credit bureau. And again, depends on the service, depends on how far you get into the application process. There may be a point where they do ask for that, but for the most part, it's not. And there are these personal / startup loans you can get, but they require a higher credit score. Equipment type of loans, there will be business term loans that can have that as well. But you're also seeing that kind of credit worthiness. And these startup loans, like I said already, other types of small business loans, and some even government related will ask for those FICO credit scores. But I can be on here giving you a huge list. Just know that there's an option out there if you don't want to use your business credit, that you can use personal credit to apply. And those programs are available. One of those great ones being a David Allen Capital. There are other programs like business lines of credit that you can also use, but that information will be down below in the description. So make sure to view all of that. And if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down for me. I'll try to get there as fast as possible and respond. If you need to get a hold of me, in the description, my email, submit a contact form for funding. That'll be one of the fastest ways for me to get a hold of you. I will reply to you with a thorough response. I'll text you letting you know that I've sent you an email. If you want to communicate that way, we can. If need be, if it makes sense to get on a call, I can, but I don't always take every call because I can't devote that type of energy and time, because the file may not be what it should be, and I end up wasting and giving too much, and it ends up becoming a tangent, and I try to keep the conversation here, and it just becomes more than it needs to be. So look for that information down below, get an application in, and that is all. Thank you.